Hello again, and welcome back to the Animite Tales podcast, or should I say the Power podcast? I've messed this intro up already. I had two in a row, guys. Come on. Anyway, welcome back, Sam and Alex. I guess.
And my ears have been
Hello.
destroyed.
And now that my ears are bleeding, I won't be able to hear what either of them say. Today we are going to be talking about angelic or angel physiology, or at least angelic powers. This one's kind of a trickier one than demon physiology because I feel like we all had more of a solid idea on what a demon consummated as, whereas angel, we're gonna have to get really philosophical in certain parts. Which I don't really like, but I'm gonna put this out here now, and I'll put the rules down. Has to be considered as an actual angel in that specific universe, not as a title. Has to have some kind of mystical values or properties or physiological traits that state are angelic, not just angel-like. And I don't mean as in I have wings that are like angel wings. Unless if you got anything else going for you, sorry, that doesn't count. Angel-like, but not angelic. And the third and final one, it has to be something that is relatively celestial. Doesn't necessarily mean that the creature itself actually is born celestial, it just has to be semi-celestial in power or nature of its physiological traits. Again, it can still look human, it can have all the traits of human, it just has celestial kind of powers that do not consummate as god powers, but merely angel powers. Now that we've got this really annoying set of rules, let's begin. So, did anyone actually do any research as to what an angel actually is?
A little bit. A little bit. I mean, that's the thing, it's so vague in most things. I mean, I look at like the superpower wiki and it's like, yeah, there is a lot of overlap with like, godlike powers and stuff. Like,
I mean,
there really isn't that too many examples, I don't think that I'm familiar with anyway.
to be fair, they are more or
Go on,
less
Sam.
godlike. They do have they're the second closest to God. They do have quite a lot of his powers.
Yeah, but they can't have like. Well, I don't think that they could have like the really big god powers. Like they can't affect everything in the world all
Okay,
at once. They can
well,
affect a small part of it.
we'll-
I think
we'll-
that's where I would draw the line.
I'll look up the definition in a second then, since we're obviously stuck on this one. But I will actually state what the angel physiology superpower states in the superpower wiki. Again, if anyone hasn't seen this, check out Fandom, aka Superpower Wiki, or the Fandom app, which you can download on Apple or on any of the different specific providers. I think you can download it on Android, and I don't think Windows exists anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But you can download it also on your phones and your tablets. But basically, it's called Fandom. Check it out. And if not, Superpower Wiki, you can look it up on your phone, or you can look it up on the internet on any particular device. But basically, it states here, the angel physiology, the power to possess the traits, attributes, and or abilities of, transform into, or be/is an angel, variation of transcendent physiology and mythic physiology, opposed to demon physiology. It's also known as angel mimicry, angelic's mimicry/angelic physiology, angelic powers, angelus physiology, celestial mimicry, heavenly/holy/spiritual messenger physiology. The list continues further down, but those are what it's known as anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There are also 3 different types of angels. Physical angels aren't necessarily solid matter, but they are material/energy beings with relatively defined/stable forms. Spiritual angels are completely spiritual beings and thus far less bound by the laws of physics or single form. And ethereal angels are often both most powerful and ancient angels, in some ways closer to sentient concepts than anything else, such as relating them to any way is likely impossible. So basically, we have those particular ones, but there is actually technically a fourth one, which I know that if I did not mention the ghost of Alfie, he's not dead, but we haven't seen him in a long time, would come back and slap me in the face. There is actually technically another one, which is Eldritch Angels, which are the ones that have physiological forms, but do not look anything like us in any form, and actually don't have any form of relatability, similar to the ethereals, but they share certain forms of all three of them. But anyway, so that's
Be not afraid.
basically it. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, and whilst I'm having a look at anything, would you guys like to specifically maybe list off the common traits? I did this last time with the demons, but I think you guys can start off.
Oh yeah. I know there's a few things. I mean, I can only know from ones that I found from the shows that I've been watching. But basically, well, there's the wings, of course, or the ability to like fly or just hover in the air and just go ah as a beam of light, comes down upon you. Just something, as if you are ascending or have ascended. That kind of aura around angels. You've also got light weapons. I know that's not every single one, but like it tends to be like a trope with angel physiologies that they have weapons that can repel darkness and evil. Usually arrows or swords or various sort of things that the main point of them is that they have the ability to cut literally through evil, like their opposites. And those are the ones that I can think of. That I enjoy. You want to add anything, Sam?
Any particular traits of the superpower, or specific physiology?
They always tend to be quite strong. It is stronger than humans, let's say, and often as strong as demons. Or things besides, because you said all the common ones. They tend to be extraordinarily attractive, in some form or fashion. Like even, like they appear semi-godlike, shall I say. Angelic, even. Yeah. It depends on the pet. They don't really need to breathe or eat or sleep. I suppose is none that I've seen anyway.
Okay.
They're above that sort of thing. They're above these mortal constraints.
Well, in that case,
it depends on what. It depends on like what series, what kind of continuity. Sometimes they are just beings of light that only appear human, just mostly for our benefit.
Others they are like, actually just straight up just humans, but with wings. But they're actually in their universe stated to be angels. Again, there is a difference between that, and we'll get into that later. Alex, you and I had this discussion, and we will get into that.
Yeah.
I'll list off the few ones then, just basically making a nice polymerized sort of mesh. The usual ones are obviously as stated: light powers / light generation / light mimicry, wings of some form or shape, immortality, inability or in requirement of breathing or food or sustenance in any shape or form, supernatural strength, speed, durability, healing powers, the ability to heal others, the ability to smite others, the ability to cause holy power or essence, in other words, the ability to destroy evil, in other words, demonic presences or anything that is considered witchcraft or impure, and practically all around having the ability to summon fire, bring the dead back to life if they may have the ability to do so, and the other two ones that I know of that I've seen in a lot of ones is carrying people to and from and teleporting to and from the different dimensional barriers, in other words, the esoterics or the ethereal barriers, in other words, meaning going to different afterlives, either heaven or hell or so on and so forth. So those are pretty much like a list of the different ones.
I've got another one actually. I've got another one actually not mentioned. Yeah, no, you went. No, it's not just that as well. I was just, you said that. No, there's another one as well. It's a form of super charisma, I think, because you know how like demons and devils like have the ability of charisma manipulation and convincing people.
I guess so. I've not often
with angels,
seen
like No, but like with angels, it's more sort of like, inspiring like intimidation or inspiring people to be, more confident or just comforting people, just calming them down. Like
One
that's a form of like,
one thing I
super
was
charisma in my
one thing I
opinion.
was going to say, which is actually more, which is actually contradicting what Sam said. A lot of the time, I often see it that like demons you'd have to have like 10 or 5 demons to fight a single angel. I don't know why, but in a lot of the stuff that I've seen, it's not just Eastern, but it is also Western culture where angels are the big powerhouses, and most demons are just basically run of the mill creatures. Um,
Eh,
Whereas like angels are actually quite powerful compared to them. Like they could take down more of them comparatively. Um, However, I was actually going to get into something
Ah,
which
I
I'll
think I have
get.
an answer for that.
Well, I was actually going to get
Yeah,
into
sorry.
this just real quick, and then you can say what you want to say. We didn't actually talk that much about rank that much last time. Obviously, demon,
Mm.
archdemon, and obviously like the different types of like primordial demons, or even like special types of demons and stuff like that. But angels
hierarchy.
actually. Angels actually do have a much more intrinsic hierarchy, as well as a completely ridiculous hierarchy, because they actually have two common, one common hierarchy, one less commonly known hierarchy. The common one is there are only two types of angels. There is the angel, and then there is the archangel. The archangels being the four archangels under God. Supposedly, they're supposed to be the usual ones, such as Gabriel, Lucifer, and Michael. And then the fourth one is supposed to be Raphael. Um, but it really depends on what texts you read from, because in the King James Bible, I think they only ever talk about Michael, Lucifer, or Michael, Samael / Lucifer, and Gabriel. They only talk about them, and they're supposed to be the actual three archangels. Whereas there's the other ones, which is there's a huge list of different ones, which maybe we'll get time to talk about. But again, ridiculous types of things. But we're talking more about angels. We should probably talk about the actual power, or at least the special abilities of it. But yeah, sorry. Go on, Alex. What were you going to say?
Yeah. Well, I think that, this whole idea of them being powerhouses, I have a theory on that actually, and it is like I think that it's quite canonical in a lot of things and like perceptions of what angels are supposed to be. I think the reason why they're such powerhouses is not because they're inherently more powerful, but because they're more skilled, because they're more disciplined, because they're supposed to be like, they're supposed to be beings that follow order and fight against the chaos of evil. And so naturally they would like, be just more disciplined, have more strategy to them. Whereas like with the hordes of evil, you can just like make it up. They'll be like, they'll be like created from sin, and sins are going to be sloth and wrath and
Well,
stuff. I kind of think that it'll be like more hodgepodge. Whereas like
you,
angels would be like, yeah, you don't even need it.
You know what's
You know,
funny about that actually is the fact that you say this and you actually hit the nail on the head with this one, because the definition of angel here is a spiritual being believed to act as an attendant, agent, or messenger of God, conventionally represented in human form with wings and a long robe. Quote here saying God sent an angel to talk to Gideon. Now, if anyone knows any of the particular quotes from any particular thing of like the supposed most badass quotes angels have, or stated about angels or anything, there are two that always come to mind. One of the particular ones is that like as it says like agent of God. Um, Gabriel was supposed to be the messenger of God, and then you have like what was it angels are supposed to be agents and created by God to basically be like almost like the hands and servants of him. Although all of us are supposed to be servants to the Lord at one point in this particular housing here. So exactly what you're saying here, Alex, is demons are just, they could be any old randos. They could be any old random evil spirit or twisted soul that has eventually taken form out of malice and evil, or out of just, misconstruction. Whereas angels have been handcrafted for a specific job, either to be fighters, disciplined, or specifically just to be messengers. And most of the ones that would be on the battlefield would be handcrafted by a higher being to be the combatants, and therefore would almost always be seen as the best and the strongest of the bunch. They would be the cream of the crop.
And they are meant to symbolize perfection in some way, so it wouldn't make sense if they are like imperfect in that way. They've been crafted to be perfect, or at least to the best of their variability.
Again, we'll get into that in a bit, because again, we'll talk about the stereotype / also the archetype that usually comes with this power or with this physiology. But yeah, I was going to say then, like, so we've talked about all of the different forms of powers of usage. Sam, is there anything that you specifically wanted to add before we moved on?
I was just going to mention the perfection thing, considering how many of them fall down.
No. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. Then, yeah. Because it's like the thing after this thing, actually. Because
Connor brought it up, of the idea that he quite liked somewhat about fallen angels. We'll talk about that.
Oh yeah, we'll forget that then. We have to forget that. We have to pander to our number one fan, Connor.
Well, anyway,
our one listener.
Okay. So what we'll do then is we'll actually talk about the thing that I was going to change subject to, and then we'll come back to that, because again, it's a very important part anyway. But again, we'll get into the archetype in a second. So the actual powers of it. A lot of the time, they are considered relatively OP, very strong, very durable, but I actually wanted to get into the misconceptions of this particular discussion. Angel from X-Men. I know that I don't like making too many references in a lot of these episodes, but I have to bring this up because, Alex, you brought this up to me, and I think it needs to be stated.
Yeah, we had a very good conversation. Yeah, that's a very good. Sam, yeah, he's just a wingman.
Exactly. He is that's perfectly right, Sam. He only has wings. He does not, and he's Angel by name. Canonically, even the universe does not claim him to be an actual angel. He has no supernatural abilities, no special magical power, and he has not got any holier-than-thou powers. Heck, his wings can't regenerate, and neither can the rest of his body if he is injured. He doesn't have any extra abilities on top of this. And I hate to be this guy, but I'm just going to throw this out there. Unless if it is explicitly stated, as I said as one of the rules, unless if it's explicitly stated that his power is to be an angel, it's just a mutation that makes him seem angel-like. Not angelic, angel-like.
I mean, considering at one point, as we saw in the comics, his wings did get destroyed entirely. He just became man. He didn't regenerate his wings. He just was like walking about man then.
And again, to make another reference, there is actually another show which I will not state in case if anyone wishes to watch it and they might actually know what I'm talking about. There's an actual show where an angel gets his wings cut off. Later, he then discovers that they have grown back and he has no idea why. And it's actually because that angels, if they wish to / if they decide to cut off them, they self-actualize them never coming back. However, when they suddenly self-actualize them back, it turns out that they can constantly regenerate because angels are supposed to be immortal beings with perfection, meaning that they can't actually have true scars because eventually they'll just keep healing. However, later on, that rule is then kind of, but not really broken, in the forms of the wings of another are cut off by a special blade made and forged by God to basically sever through the universe itself. So again, pinch of salt needs to be taken here. In fact, just give me the whole tray of salt at this point. But, like, again...
Yeah. I mean, I've always said you were salty, so here's some salt for you.
Yeah. So okay,
some salt for yourself.
so we're talking about that. I'd say, you know what? I'd say it has to at least have a mystical property to actually be angelic, or at least holy power to be at least, thing. However, I would say that it is angel mimicry or false angel mimicry. If we were to do this, it's false angel mimicry or false angel physiology, because he does actually have a relatively well toned out body a lot of the time. I haven't seen a form of angel where he isn't at least relatively well jacked, but then again, who isn't in comics?
I would read the comics so much if he had like a really fat body. I'm just putting that out there right now. If he is actually really chunky, can we get chunky angel Marvel? Can you make my dreams come true?
What I'd love is that if he was chunky and he had to go on a diet because he couldn't fly at that point.
You know what, guys? You know what, guys at Marvel? If you need to redo Angel, I'm always available. I'm just saying. So I'll prove all those haters wrong that you can be a chunky angel. But yeah, so so I'm gonna say it has to it will have to be false angel mimicry or false angel physiology. So that's where I'll put him in there. I'll put him in his little bin. He can think of it as a tray or a dish or a basket, but we all know what it is.
I wouldn't even go that far because I don't think he even has super strength.
No, he didn't. The
wings. I think all he has.
The wings.
But that's all he has is wings. I don't think that's more like bird physiology.
Well, the thing is, someone said to me, "Oh, but the wings are really strong." And I went, "Yeah, I mean, a swan's wings can break
like
your
a
arm,
bird.
And that is a swan. That's not even the biggest bird in the world. I think it's like the albatross or the condor or something like that. Imagine that thing that is supposed to be bigger than a human being. If that thing just went, oh, you know what, wing dive right into your arm, that'll probably cut you in half. It probably wouldn't actually cut you in half, but you know what I mean. If a wing that is big
permission
enough
to rename Angel to Swan Man.
You know what? That's what they basically are. I'm sorry. He's now just
he's a Swan Man. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, Swan Man.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go on some kind of. You know what? I'm gonna go on to Photoshop, and for this thumbnail, as and when I actually have the time, I will make a thing. It'll just say Swan Man above the angel from either the comics or from the X-Men 3 Last Stand movie, and it will just literally over his head. It will just be called Swan Man, and it will just be put on here because at
least choose Apocalypse where he's in his biker jacket.
No, because everyone has to remember
no, he doesn't deserve that.
Of garbage angel that we were given.
X-Men 3 is a cult classic. Stone cold.
Oh, in Opposite Land. Okay,
I will always defend that movie as an okay movie.
Right, okay, so
anyway, yeah.
Archetypes and stereotypes. So the usual two archetypes and stereotypes, here we go. So the big stereotype is, they're usually perfect. However, as we all know, there's one that is probably just as equal to each other, which is the archetype of, they're expected to be perfect, but perfection isn't as easy as it always seems, as yes, you did actually previously state, Sam, a lot of them either fall or just get away with a lot of really kind of crummy stuff.
As long as they're doing God's will, it's all good.
And that's exactly it.
I have two rapidly different archetypes than you do, actually, then.
Go on then, Sam. I'd love to hear them, to be fair.
Because I have nothing to do with perfection at all.
No, go.
The two I have, the first one is the holier than thou. I am goodness. I am the law. If anything is even different, or is not what I consider to be good, therefore it must be destroyed. Is that kind of angel of I am goodness because God created me, therefore I am good. Anything that is not me, that does something bad, must be destroyed. Pretty much lawful good if it was jacked up a lot. The other one is the kind of, I don't want to say neutral good, but neutral good, where they are friendly, where they're very naive because they don't know what evil is. But like the kind of not so much naive
Oh
act,
yeah,
but
so
they tend
innocent.
they tend to see the good in everyone around them because they think in concepts of goodness. Like he's not totally evil. There must be good in everyone. The game. Can I give the reference for a really good example of this game?
No, you go for it. I mean, I've already said X-Men like 3 times.
Okay. The one I really there's a great game called Disgaea.
Disgaea.
Realm. We just in the demon realm called the Nether Realm, where you play as demons mostly. You're humanoid, and they also have a heaven called Celestia, I think it's called, where you meet more or less 3 angels. One of them becomes your companion, who is called Flan, who is incredibly naive and is nicknamed the Love Freak. she believes that even demons can feel love and that they can be good people, which she kind of more or less enforces upon the main character, who constantly says, "No, I'm a demon, therefore I am evil." And the other angel that we see is a guy called Vulcanus.
Yeah.
Who is more or less kind of shadow puppeting the world around him because he wants there to actually be an actual war between Celestia and the demon world, where they've had a truce more or less, so that he can wipe out the demons entirely. And he's puppet mastered the actual, like, he's got humans even who he sees nothing more as playthings. Like, there are puppets to be controlled and to be like I know it's like children, but like that. So he's manipulating humans to go to the Nether Realm to try and defeat the Overlord. He's manipulating like the demons themselves. He's even teaming up with some demons to make them like fight angels and things, so he can start a war. And these are like the 2 main opposing concepts.
So basically, like a lot. Well, basically, like I've heard of this. I've heard of this archetype as well. It's like, what was it? Angel politics. It's like trying to come up with a specific way of tyranny through the factor of their power, or through the factor of their factions inside of heaven or inside of the afterlives. This is something that is kind of I hate to say this. I don't know how you feel on this, Alex. I actually kind of find this a bit boring and annoying. Half of the point of like an angel being above us is that they don't have politics. It's something that we created because we are ourselves like
I like to think that is exactly.
I mean, I'm gonna have to disagree a little bit.
I think that's exactly.
I mean, yeah, that's the point. That you shouldn't be doing that.
I think.
I think that's exactly the point, though. Is that the angels have told us that they're above us, they're above our comprehension, and they're therefore whenever we do see them, they are actually more or less exactly like us.
Okay, narrative-wise, I get that. I get that it's a lot more relatable. But I think that if angels are/were, depending on your specific preference or beliefs, are/were, real, I would like to believe that they realistically probably don't have the political systems that we do, because more than likely they probably have a lot of different scenarios to deal with. Although, I don't know, it's kind of an interesting archetype considering the usual ones are.
I mean, I would say politics.
Oh, okay. Alex is gone.
I would say that politics belongs in hell. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I went away. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. The angels cut me off. Out. Like I was there. Politics. Slammed door. Leaves podcast. No, I was just saying. Like I wasn't even being funny. I was just saying that politics is something that belongs in hell, because it is like. This is sort of the. It involves the corruption and the sort of like the really morally ambiguous decisions that the mortal realm and the and the hell realm has. Whereas like I
think the funny thing is that we're actually talking a lot more about the characters and less about the powers. And I think this is actually one of the main things that I was actually going to talk about. It's an interesting power, But let's be honest, it's so overpowered that unlike demons, where we actually talk about like the really cool ways that it can affect different things and how different that they are, let's be honest, they're not very different. They are pretty much just super overpowered spiritual beings that are basically quasi-gods, if not demigods. And they are really OP and really just basically... A lot of the time, they're seen as humans, which is why I wanted to talk about the list of different angel types, but I can't currently find it, so you guys will chat amongst yourselves whilst I look for it.
I mean,
considering we're talking about politics,
they can be a little bit boring.
Do you have a hierarchy? For God's sake, they have like seraphim.
That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to find.
That's pretty much close enough to humanity, and that they've got a hierarchy. They've got God.
And literally,
okay. Here we go.
I mean, literally, it's like a hierarchy.
I've now got it, guys. I've now got it. The hierarchy of angels. So there's 9. There's 9 different There's 9 different levels of hierarchies of angels. So we usually know angels and archangels. Those are the 2 ones in the usual concept. Angels are the usual ones. They're just the messengers, or specifically they are the
angels.
Workers of God. And then you've got archangels, the warriors of God. But it gets further, and this is why I love these, because technically we can talk about these as a multitude of different powers, and then we can just talk about all the multiplicities of different usages of powers in these types of physiology. So here we go. You have number 9 at angels, the messengers of mankind, guardians of humanity and nature. Number 8, archangels, ruling angels, God's emissaries, protectors of human life. Above them, we have the principalities, angels of time and blessings, guardians of countries and cities, educators of the earth. This is then when we get to 6, which are known as the powers, angels of power and defense, keepers of history, the warriors. Virtues, number 5, angels of choice and motion, provide enlightenment. Dominions at number 4, angels of intuition, the leaders, give guidance to lower angels. So dominions are basically pretty much the middle managers. They are kind of almost like the counselors of angels. Now, my favourite is the thrones, number 3. Angels of will and justice, givers of positive energy. And I'll come back to those in a bit. Number 2 are the cherubim, angels of harmony and wisdom, guardians of spiritual sanctities. And finally, number 1, the seraphim, angels of love, light, and fire, guardians of God's throne. Now, here's something interesting that I will talk about in a form of the thrones. The thrones' physical appearance is kind of interesting, because this is kind of where we sort of go a little different. So the first ones are the angels, archangels, and principalities. They're basically the more human-like ones. After that, it starts going a little bit skew-iffy, because the powers are the last ones that seem anywhere near human-like for quite some time. Virtues, dominions, they start having more wings than orifices. And then eventually, thrones aren't even human. They're like just fire with rings around the fire that is generating light almost equal to that of the sun. They said, represented of the steadfastness of God, they're basically flaming, rotating rings covered with eyes. That is literally the description of a throne. Their specific duty is the contemplation of God's power and judgment. They appear as the most unlike of the others, and when they are revealed. So that's that. Yeah. Either way. So thrones are the least likely.
That makes sense, actually.
No, go on.
It's like
weird creatures.
Contemplating is possible, because then they would look less human. They would look like they'd be looking pretty bad, I think.
The funny thing is
bad, just sort of like your eyes will start bleeding because the sun.
In a depiction of art that someone did for them, they actually depicted it that there was 4 of these throne angels, like underneath a large square of light that actually held an actual golden throne that held like a great light, and then there were multiple winged like objects floating around them, which were the seraphim, which kind of depicts that the thrones actually hold up the actual throne of God. And in this particular depiction, it's kind of interesting because if you think about it as this particular form, with these, you have so much more freedom with creation. And this is what I'm actually going to get into now. The cherubim are usually depicted as basically the cupids. They are the angels of love and protection of human emotion and so on and so forth. You've got the dominions and so on and so forth. You've got the archangels. So technically, there are a large amount of different ones, but I'm going to ask you, if you were to create yourself a kind of angel of something, because this is the last thing that we were going to talk about, which is, in a lot of forms of fiction, there are angels of things. Angel of time, angel of fire, angel of light, angel of mystery, angel of rain, angel of dust, angel of... I don't know, angel of darkness, angel of hell, or something like that.
Death.
Angel of death. Azrael, the angel of death. Aestabus, the angel of time and mystery. So there's all sorts of different ones that people have done. Uriel, the angel of fire. So I'm going to give you guys some time here to come up with your own type, and you can even, if you want to add some extra flair, you can even say what maybe one of the 9 or one of the 2 that they might be. And even what special abilities they might have. We'll rule out most of them if you really don't want to list off the 17 different powers that they may have, but if you'd like to, fair enough.
I think I've got one. I was really having a lot of difficulty with this, actually. I was kind of dreading this question because, I can't really imagine anything kind of interesting. Because it's like, with the demons, it's like, oh yeah, we get all these cool dark powers, ooh, emo. But this one is a little bit more tricky, but I think I've got one, actually.
Okay.
I would be the angel of positive communication. And one of my powers would be, having healthy relationships online and increasing, people reaching out to each other.
So a more modernistic
and
angel.
in need and helping each other.
So a more modernistic type
exactly,
of angel, like an angel actually dedicated more to like, kind of almost like as if they were newborn sort of thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like, it's like, coming out, like, oh dear, there's a lot of like horrible negativity in this realms of hell.
I will say this just for
in,
clarification. Not angel that you would be, but like as in creation of an angel if you could create one.
Oh yeah, I would create that one definitely. Like not necessarily be. No, I would not be the angel of positive communication. You've seen my Twitter. It's just it would be impossible for me. I cannot. I cannot be that positive online all of the time. But I sow chaos and discord wherever I go. So that's off the table for me. But I would like the idea of creating an angel that is the opposite of that, which creates activism and mutual aid in a positive environment, and it just showcases the nice side of the internet and world communication.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I like that. So sort of almost like software-based technopathy, along with like almost...
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. What about you,
Kind of a
Sam?
bit of super charisma in there too, I suppose.
Yeah, super charisma. Yeah.
Persuade people.
I mean,
Empathy.
to be honest, I'm going to go with my Greek. Going to go with my Greek roots here.
Okay.
I'd probably be angel. Probably an angel of the Promethean flame, so to speak.
Okay.
Or I guess technological process. And probably the angel of helping people. Because back in the day, Prometheus gave us the flame of fire so we could make fire and therefore give us knowledge of how to make things. Like how to make like buildings and swords and cack like that. Which I think would probably be a good angelic point, would be how to helping us progress beyond what we have now to a better, cleaner, more reliable future. Like an angel helps us create pretty much the best parts of humanity is our ability to expand beyond ourselves and create things that no one thought possible.
Okay.
Hopefully an angel will give us an ability to like not manufacture sunlight, but like sun things powered by sunlight. What do you call them? Those sensitive things. Things that take sunlight that take sunlight and turn it into power.
Oh, like solar panels.
Solar panels, but instead of making them like I think they're like at maximum like I don't even think they're that high yet, but 10% efficient at actually doing that, make them like 95% efficient. We really could make it more better.
Where it's literally like nova energy being stored.
Like pretty much so we wouldn't have to use any kind of fossil fuels or any non-reliable, returnable substance anymore. We could just be like, oh, power from the sun. We have it 100% now. Turn that straight into electricity, baby.
Can you imagine what they would look like though? Like they could literally be like rotating wings that also act as solar panels.
I probably should have actually asked this one. Actually, Alex, what would yours have been? Is it just Angel or one of the 9 or?
I think probably just Angel.
Yeah,
I think that's too
helper
niche
and
to be one of the 9.
of humanity. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
I was imagining mine looking like some kind of weird, like clockwork thing that just kind of rotates and on itself, continually maybe occasionally growing something else out of it. That looks weird. Like the pictures I've sent of the weird circles within circles within circles that spin and rotate around each other, but like cogs.
That's definitely a throne. That's 100%
those are thrones. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's probably not what it would be logistically, considering thrones are contemplations. But I think that's probably what it would semi look like. That's what I'm imagining. Or maybe like Prometheus.
I can't.
Or just make ball fire.
Well, now that you've kind of taken my one, I kind of feel like I have to actually come up with something more intelligent than just what I was originally going to go for.
You're gonna say?
Well, I was gonna steal one from one of my previous campaigns, but since Sam has pretty much taken the category of throne, I think I'm gonna have to go for something else. You know what? I'm gonna go for this one. You know what? This actually is probably the best one. I'm gonna go for the Angel of the Present. And if any of you guys know this, I won't say his name until I am assuming that one of you guys remember it. And Sam, I'm not looking at you, considering that I'm pretty sure you don't remember it.
Is this the ghost of Christmas Present you're being?
No.
You can be Santa.
So, basically, there are many different time-based concepts. The past, the present, the future. And in the concept of the present, if there was a god of time or an angel of time, and there were smaller time children, there would be a dominion of time itself, and that child would have the ability to stop time and be able to pause manipulations of time, alter manipulations of time, even unwrite or continue time if others try to stop it. For instance, they could nullify time manipulation itself because that they are the ones who choose when time is to be ruled over. They do not have the ability to access the past, nor do they have the ability to see or access the future. All they have is the present and the ability to make it always be the present. Because of this, they can omni-lock any particular person out of trying to paradox themselves out of the current moment that they are, becoming not only angelically, physiologically immortal due to angels having a healing capability, or even just immortality, but also the factor of someone couldn't go, I'm going to go back in time and kill you when you were younger, and therefore you just erase from time, becoming the living paradox known as quantum present existent, which basically is, as it says, they are locked out of any particular previous moment or future moment affecting their present existence, meaning that you cannot jump forward and kill them because they're 100 years weaker. Nor can you go backwards and kill them when they were a baby. Instead, they are as they are in their current timeline, and they cannot be altered nor affected. This particular angel is known as... Alex, might you be able to remember this one? This is from Animite Tales lore, by the way.
Oh God! Oh Jesus! What was the fucking name? I can't remember the name.
Oh no!
I can't remember the name.
I'll give
sorry.
it. I'm
terrible.
I'll give
I know
it to
who you
Sam,
mean, but I
just
can't
in
remember
case.
them.
Just in case, it is one of Legion's siblings.
Oh, is it the sister?
Yeah, it's the
It's
Legion
not the.
siblings.
It's not the sister. It's the
No,
eldest brother.
No, it's the other one.
Oh, is it the one no one cared about? That was only there for like 5 minutes.
He wasn't even in it. He wasn't. He was mentioned, and that was it.
He wasn't in it.
Oh,
No.
that guy. I know him well. I knew him well back in the day. We went to different schools together.
Yeah, okay, alright,
Yeah.
I see this is going nowhere. Basically, the name of the particular angel, which would be technically considered in the biblical sense as a dominion, would be known as Postriel, because P-O-S-T, stop. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've got important pin numbers stashed in my mind. I can't remember that stuff. That's going to get pushed out.
Yes, that's why I really love Ghost of Christmas Present. He just dies every year, and then a new one comes. He's always present. No, because it has so many brothers before him.
Okay,
that's why. Yeah.
I'm just.
So
this is more of.
and a new one will keep
I
coming.
will say this, and you guys don't have to answer now because obviously this is more of a personal question between us three, and no one else is going to remember this, and no one else is going to know even who this is. But Legion, what kind of angel would he have been? I'm going to leave that, and we'll speak to each other at the end of the session to actually sort of maybe have it. We'll talk about that. Anyway,
he's no angel.
He's no angel. He's a demon. Anyway.
No. It'd be like the tagline of the film. It'd be like Legion. Like that isn't like the film Michael, except with Legion on it. He's no angel.
Anyway, so
I mean, everyone knows the film Michael.
We have spoken about a few different particular things, but I'm actually going to speak about an archetype that I actually don't often get to see, and I'm going to talk about it now, which is after they lose their powers or they are tainted by other powers that basically forces their abilities to no longer exist, they actually pretty much seem terrified, almost like as if they are actually horrified at the same way that a human would look at their newly made stump after losing a limb in a action movie or anything like that, where they're suddenly horrified that they no longer have it. Whereas if they suddenly lose their angelic grace or power, they're suddenly horrified at this specific realization. And no, I'm now human. Which, I guess, fair enough, because, I mean, if you had that awesome power, which was basically any fraction of God's capabilities, fair enough. Like, being a human would be a major handicap after that. Excuse me whilst I live forever, never die from illness or sickness, don't have to worry about getting anything or anyone impregnated. What is that? I can teleport and fly? Awesome!
Trying to mock that great Nicolas Cage classic where he is an angel and becomes a human and then dates a woman.
Is it?
But then he becomes Nicolas Cage. I mean, I wouldn't say that's a handicap. I think that's
I should say
its own right.
Based on the French new wave film.
Oh yes,
Like
City of Angels. Yeah,
City of Angels. That's the one.
I will say, if anyone wants to actually see any interesting style of how angels are actually dealt with, definitely check out Supernatural. And by that I mean definitely check out at least season 4 all the way up till 15. You're not really missing out on much, but definitely check those. Actually, no, season 4 to 10, because that's when they're actually talking about how different the angels work. But anyway,
play Disgaea, and also watch City of Angels, both the French and the American one.
So, okay, is there any other things that you guys feel like I've missed that we should probably discuss about to do with the angel physiology power?
I'm not sure. I think we covered pretty much everything, I would say.
So, I mean,
unless we want to delve more into, like, Michael the movie.
We're cutting very early, and I thought that we could actually talk about something else specifically, but if anyone has anything else...
You could say, like whenever they tend to fall, they either still have their powers, or they become demons with slightly different powers. That seems to be the
okay. You and I have different. You and I have different things. I mean, this is based on different lore.
Mostly because Nephilim are a thing.
It's funny that you bring this up. I was actually going to talk about them in this video, but again, never mind. Real quick, fallen angels are one of two different categories. One, they either get depowered, or two, they actually get tainted because of the fact that they are fallen. For instance, Lucifer or Samael, who falls and no longer is actually an angel of heaven and becomes the caretaker of hell, blah blah blah, or becomes Satan, whichever particular lore or myth or biblical theological individuality that you want to read up on. There is the problem of this particular situation, which is technically they become more powerful because theoretically being a ruler of an entire afterlife dimension is technically better than just being able to go and say hi to a few humans every now and again.
The thing is, though, as we've seen with the Highlander, you don't want to live forever.
But angels are designed to specifically not care about whether or not they do or don't. And here's another specific thing. Humans with the powers, or mortals with the powers of suddenly, angelic power, seem to be able to be okay with it for a certain amount of time. But actual natural born angels, they seem to be absolutely fine with living forever.
I mean, thing is, though, as we've seen, they do tend to have their own personalities. Do things different, as we saw.
It depends.
As we saw with Lucifer saying, "No, wrong. I want to be king now. I don't want to serve anymore." So they must have some amount of their own personal preference of being. They're not.
I mean,
like I know,
that's
like
Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman does that a lot, though.
A great film you should watch is Dogma. It's a great Kevin Smith film specifically about that. You ever seen it, Dogma?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where they don't have no genitals.
Yes, and they can't imbibe alcohol. They can't imbibe alcohol because God said they can't.
Yeah. Well, it
oh my god, dude! Oh my god, he's ascending! He's ascending! Joe!
You put on your stupid voice again. You put on your bad voice.
Sorry.
Put on the Spider-Man voice. No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Glad you guys caught that on straight away. Yeah, cheers. Sorry. By the way, for those who don't know, I still have my voice modulator app still attached to my current microphone. So yeah, if you suddenly got a shock, I'm really sorry about that. Anyway, well, I was actually going to say one particular thing about this, which is they don't actually have their free will. But again, we're talking more about angels. I was actually going to talk about a human who suddenly gained power, or a mortal who suddenly gained power of that. And I guess we might as well talk about the Nephilim. Because in all honesty, if they weren't going to be talked about in demon physiology, they might as well be talked about here. Nephilim. They're kind of a bit of a tricky subject. When I spoke to Alfie about Nephilim, and I spoke to Kane about Nephilim, both of them said the exact same thing. Yeah, that's a demon and an angel. But
there actually is two things here, because me and Connor specifically talked about this today at lunch. There's two specific words: Nephilim and Nephalem. Nephilim spelled Nephilim, and the other one Nephalem. I think was the word. Being two distinctly different things. Nephilim, the Ilim, is that angel and human. Ergo, like people like Goliath was a Nephilim. Nephalem is an angel is a fallen angel and a demon. Have a union and make some creature. There you go, people. Because they both sound the same, they can be. Me and Connor both got these wrong. So okay, it's Nephilim and Nephalem.
Well, Nephilim and Nephilim. Thank you, Sam. Honestly, I'm not actually saying this disingenuously. I am actually saying this genuinely, because I didn't know the difference. And
did you think it's me as well? It was angel and human.
Well, Nephilim is the term that they use in Supernatural for if a creature is born half human, half angel. And Nephalem,
that's the right one.
A Nephalem or Nephilim because in American accents and also with zero amount of context, it just sounds the same. No, again, like, no offense, but like, literally play Darksiders and you'll see what I mean. They go, the Nephilim, and so therefore it just sounds the same. And they're supposed to be half demon, half
and we
angel.
both got confused by it.
So
we both said the same.
So if anyone hears us say this from now on, because there will possibly be a character at some point in a future campaign that we might stream at some time, maybe if we're lucky, where there might be Nephilim and Nephalem, and then Nephalem or Nephalem, those will be the demon ones, and Nephilim will be the human ones, or half human, half angel. Either way, I'm going to say this now.
Angels. Can we just call them Dangels or Dangles?
Anyway, so the specific thing to do with the Nephilim and Nephalem, whatever. Either way, because they're supposed to be half something, half the other, there are specific bonuses for this. Half angel, half human. Honestly, it's really dependent, because weirdly enough, in another specific show that I'm going to shut up with, I swear, is basically an angel's grace mixed with a human soul basically gives them extra superpower, basically meaning that they're even more immortal than they would have been normally. There's only certain ways to kill them. Depending on the specific type of... depending on the specific type of angel, archangel or above, that they actually bred with, actually means that they could become more powerful, because supposedly they're supposed to be born with more power than the specific angel parent. Anyway, however, there is also another particular thing, which is they are actually given human vulnerability, but angelic long life, meaning that they can live forever, but they can be killed, harmed, or maimed in the same way that humans can be. Meaning that they don't have invulnerability, but they do have immortality. Meaning that they will heal, but they can be cut, if that makes sense. In other words, it's kind of the difference between being Luke Cage and Wolverine. Both are relatively difficult to put down, but honestly, shoot one in the head and you'll see the difference.
I mean, Luke Cage won't get hit.
Either way, but my point is that the concept of those particular two different forms of Nephilim are that. However, Nephalem, so far that I've seen, is that they gain bonuses between the two. Holy and demonic damages don't hurt them because both the demonic and angelic blood cancel both out. However, this does mean that they are susceptible to any and all damage, but they still have supernatural powers, the ability to handle any demonic or angelic weaponry that they specifically need or want, and can use demonic or angelic power as and how they wish. So, there you go, some bonuses for you. Best of both worlds, I guess. They do have immortality, but not invulnerability, as certain demons aren't supposed to be invulnerable anyway. And certain angels aren't, but in other specific cases, they are actually completely indestructible. Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to have to say here that there is biblical Nephilim, and most of them are not immortal.
There we go.
Most of them just tend to be giants. Most of them tend to be either like really tall people and really strong.
Check out our next episode where we talk about Leviathans. No, we're not going to talk about any more biblical stuff, guys. We promise.
Just because it's an easy one to reference, because most people tend to know who this guy is Goliath.
Yeah,
the Nephilim. He got stone cold killed by just a guy with a sling. I would not call that immortal in any sense of the word.
Yeah, but there's a specific story about that where the stone actually was handed by an angel.
Still, I'm still saying he just got killed by a stone.
I mean, again,
magic or not,
that really just cuts out all of like the significance of the story for me. It's like, because it's like, yeah, it's about like mankind, transcending over insurmountable odds, but instead it's like, oh no, here's a rock from an angel. You can defeat another angel with it. It's like,
I thought it was more about showing courage in the face of adversity.
I was actually going to specifically say this, which I will actually get into, which is the last thing about angel physiology that I'm going to talk about, which is angelic power! Angelic power! Because The best part about angelic power is that they have multiple different types of abilities, but the main thing is that they have awesome power granted or gifted to them by God. This particular power in question is known as the Divine Grace, or God's Grace, or an Angel's Grace, whatever. Yeah, cool, whatever. Either way, the whole concept of this, my main argument for this is that graces are kind of cool if you think about it in the concept that it is a power, rather than their lifeblood. But in certain fiction, graces can either be considered a bestowed power that basically gives the angels their ability, and others, it's kind of almost like a part of their soul, and once it's gotten rid of, they don't have access to any of their angelic powers, and they're basically humans. So... There's also specific other things where humans actually have been able to gain access to angel graces as well. So again, pinch of salt taken here from that one, I guess. But I don't know. One of my favorite ones is in a certain anime that I'm not going to talk about because again, we've talked about it way too many times. But there are only 4 graces in that one. The 4 graces are really powerful, and if they're given to humans, they basically destroy their bodies over time, basically killing them, whereas if they're given to angels, they don't have those adverse effects. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say this, in the humans aspect, the more powerful they became thanks to this magical power / grace, they got bigger and bulkier. However, when given to the angel, they did not get any bigger or bulkier, but they did get more physically strong, and fast and durable and more powerful magically. This was because that it was supposed to show and explain that in a human's body, the human's body cannot contain it, so therefore they bulk up larger, whereas angels, or the goddess race, actually have a specific physiological advantage. So, yeah, again, take it with whatever specific stride or salt that you wish to take. I think that's about it, unless if anyone else has anything to say. Alrighty then. Sorry, Sam.
We're also trying to think of anything besides Alex's horrific tones in the ear that will definitely not Angelic. I dare say more.
Hey!
Sorry, did Sam say something?
No, that was sent down by the gods.
I saw his Discord. I saw his Discord thing. Oh, I saw Alex's Discord thing go. Sorry guys, I can't hear you because Alex deafened me. Sorry, Sam. What are you gonna
say? You know what? You're a bunch of me's. You are.
No, I honestly can't remember what I was going to say. No, nothing. That's something, and it was gone.
Okay, well,
just like angels go.
I'll say this then. If there's any particular things that you guys think that we missed, let us know in the comments below. If you also think that we actually did happen to say anything that may have upset you in the terms of angels or in terms of demons, just remember, we're sorry. But also, more importantly, remember that this is the Power Podcast, and we're talking about the powers themselves. So, don't hurt us. Next week, we're not entirely sure what we'll be going on with, but all I can say is this. It will definitely be something to do with either the supernatural of nature or whatever I can come up with in my spare time and leisure. Thank you very much for listening, and in all honesty, this has been a very long Friday, so take care and have a wonderful night.
Bye!
See you in the future.
Ciao, ciao. For now.